The views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal, and do not reflect the views of any organization. Hello and welcome friends once again to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Now in the last week, one word has been making the headlines. It's a simple 6-letter word called fringe, F-R-I-N-G. That's right. Ever since the government of India, through its embassies in the Arab world, reacted to the outrage in the Islamic world over the comments, controversial remarks made by a BJP spokesperson, Nupur Sharma, on the Prophet, and said that these are the remarks of fringe elements that have nothing to do with the Modi government or indeed the BJP, people have been wondering, what really is this word fringe? Now, the Oxford Dictionary meaning of the word fringe is the outer edge of an area or a group. My first acquaintance with this word fringe is more interesting. I am a Hindi film buff, and in the 1960s, there was a very popular actor, Sadhana, films like Wo Kaun Thi, Mera Saya, and she was famous for the fringe cut hairstyle that she had. Actually, I tried out also a fringe cut this week at the hairdresser, only as you will see here in this image that I tweeted, I ended up looking a bit like Lalu Prasad, certainly not Sadhana. Now, more seriously, we need to relook at this word fringe in the context of what has been said about Nupur Sharma. Is Nupur Sharma really a fringe element of the BJP as she is being described, someone on the outer edge? Just take a look at these photographs again. Nupur Sharma with a series of VVIP netas from the Prime Minister downwards, none of whom can surely be called by any stretch of imagination as fringe leaders. Now, you could argue that leaders take photographs with all kinds of people, but even that argument doesn't hold here, because take a look at Nupur Sharma's CV. In 2013, she was elected to the prestigious Delhi University Students' Union President's post as a candidate of the Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, an RSS affiliate, and endorsed and supported by the likes of the late Arun Jaitley. In 2015, Nupur Sharma goes a step further. She is put up by the BJP as a candidate against Arvind Kejriwal, soon to be Chief Minister of Delhi, in a high-profile prestige contest. Hardly you would think a fringe figure would be a DUSU president or indeed taking on Mr. Kejriwal. By 2019, JP Nadda becomes the BJP president and Nupur Sharma is made one of the BJP's official spokespersons. Now, let me tell you, the BJP takes its media image very seriously. So, spokespersons are very carefully chosen. Nupur Sharma was chosen as one and appeared regularly on primetime news TV. Is she a fringe figure as a result? And if she is a fringe figure, what happens to the galaxy of other BJP spokespersons, the likes of the ever-smiling Sambit Patra or indeed the new enfant terrible Shehzad Poonawala? Are they all fringe figures because they appear only on primetime news TV? Surely not, my friends. The fact is, Nupur Sharma is no fringe figure. You may call her rude and acerbic in her speech at times, often loud in her argument, but she is as much a fringe figure as I am an astronaut. What she is, to be fair to her, is a young, ambitious, aggressive politician who was hoping to make it big by being on the inside track with the party faithful, which frankly I have absolutely no problem with at one level. Okay, so now that we've agreed that Nupur Sharma is certainly not a fringe figure, ask the question, who is actually a fringe figure? Can we call Sadhvi Pragya, for example, a fringe figure to the BJP? She is, after all, still a terror accused, but she was put up by the party as a prestige candidate in a high-profile seat like Bhopal in 2019 against former Chief Minister Digvijay Singh of the Congress. If Nupur is accused of insulting the Prophet, Sadhvi Pragya chose to heap praise on Nathuram Godse and indeed denigrate Mahatma Gandhi. What does that make her? fringe or mainstream, because she continues to be a member of parliament. What of Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti then? Minister of State for Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution in the Modi government, previously a minister for food processing and a two-time MP now. In December 2014 at a public rally, Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti said, "It is you who must decide whether the government in Delhi will be run by Ramzadeh or the sons of Ram or Haramzadeh," an obvious reference to Muslims. It did not, of course, stop her from continuing in the Modi government despite making these controversial, inflammatory remarks. Now you tell me, is Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti a valued member of the Modi Council of Ministers, fringe or mainstream? What then of Kailash Vijayvargiya, who once disparagingly likened superstar Shah Rukh Khan to underworld don Dawood Ibrahim? The dog whistle was clearly directed at Shah Rukh's Muslim identity. Vijayvargiya is a 6-time MLA from Madhya Pradesh. BJP National General Secretary, oversaw the 2019 Bengal elections. Now you tell me, is Vijayvargiya a fringe figure or a mainstream politician? Let's turn to another far more influential political figure today, Yogi Adityanath ji, Chief Minister of UP and the man who many believe will be the face of the BJP in the future at the national level. He is a 5-time MP who in his previous avatar had also started a youth organization called Hindu Yuva Vahini. Please take a look at the Hindu Yuva Vahini's early literature, the speeches made, the campaigns it took up, whether for love jihad or a campaign against conversion. All of them, or most of them certainly, were directed against Muslims. I don't think I even need to ask the question today whether Yogi ji is fringe or is he mainstream. What we at best can suggest that Yogi ji started off as a fringe figure who today is clearly mainstream because of the position of power and influence he now commands. Let's also take a look at the reverse journey of some people who were seen as mainstream and today are being called fringe. My old friend Dr. Praveen Togadia, once the working international president of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and once seen as the most powerful figure in Gujarat politics at the turn of the century. In fact, when the 2002 Gujarat riots took place, Dr. Togadia was seen to be in charge of Ahmedabad streets. Yes, the cancer surgeon that he is has been slowly politically marginalized. But I know for a fact that he does not like to be called a fringe figure. In Praveen Bhai's mind, in fact, he believes he represents true mainstream Hindutva. As I believe, do those who organize Dharam Sansads, where they threaten to teach Muslims a lesson. Or those indeed who are members of the Bajrang Dal, an organization that openly believes in militant Hinduism and that has led to violent conflict in the past. Ask any Bajrang Dal leader today, and I am sure they will tell you they don't see themselves as fringe. And that is where the nub lies, my friends. A person may hold a important or not so important post in an organization, but what is key to ask is this: does the person represent a viewpoint that is shared by many within his or her organization? Truth is, Nupur Sharma's comments may have sounded harsh and extreme in the heat of a TV debate, but they echo the general sense within a large section of the Sangh Parivar who see Muslims as the other, that perceive Muslims, whether you like it or not, as the enemy within. Because her comments directly referred to the Prophet, they were seen as provocative and eventually led to her suspension only because of the outcry in the Arab Islamic world. But please ask any important Sangh Parivar functionary and private, and I will bet you that many of them will endorse her general line of thinking on Islam and Muslims. which is why I believe it is not Nupur Sharma or a party that has won 2 consecutive Lok Sabha elections with such an overwhelming majority that is fringe in any sense of the term. But maybe actually some of us so-called secular liberals or secular liberals, as we are now chastised, are the ones who are truly fringe in this new India. Only because we choose to reject all forms of hate speech, all forms of religious extremism, whether they are Hindus or Muslims. Just one final point. It is one thing for the powers that be to virtually disown a Nupur Sharma to save face by calling her fringe. But what of the news anchors of primetime TV who take particular delight in hosting shows that actually goad people into making the most incendiary, inflammatory remarks? Are these anchors also fringe? Or do they really and truly represent, as they claim, the nation's voice? I guess that's a question the nation wants an answer to, or the nation wants to know. Think about it. That was the Straight Bat. Do of course subscribe to my YouTube channel for many more such videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind, Namaskar.